friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you haven't been here before. I'm Erin, and for today's video we are going to be going over some creepy things that kids have said. Now me personally, I don't have any children and I really don't intend to have any. However, I am pretty intrigued by some of the things that kids say. You know, the whole saying, kids say the darndest things. Well, apparently they also say some really creepy stuff. So I found this list online, which I will have linked below if you want to check it out. And there's 271 of these creepy things that kids have said. Obviously, we're not going over all of them today. We'll just do some of them. But there's definitely some really scary and odd things that children have said. So let's just jump right into it. Okay, let's start out with this one. I was with my sister, her husband, and their 2-year-old daughter. We were talking about loved ones that had recently passed. My father-in-law died sometime recently. My brother-in-law went and grabbed a picture of his mother, who had died in a car crash when he was 6, to show me. When my niece saw the picture, though, she started laughing. We asked her what was so funny, and she looked at us and said, "That's my special friend who sings to me." I still shiver a bit just thinking about it. So that one is definitely creepy. Little kids kind of, you know, have that whole veil lifted to where they seem to be able to see things that we as adults cannot. And maybe when we were younger we could and we just forgot about it. But there's definitely a lot of stories like that. I remember growing up, my next door neighbors, they had a little boy named Corey. Well, Corey's great uncle had passed away. And I honestly don't remember what the great uncle's name was, but in any event, Corey couldn't have been any more than 2-3 years old. He was able to talk. I remember specifically he was sitting in like his pack and play and he's like laughing and carrying on and pointing over to the corner. Like he was clearly carrying on some kind of a conversation with somebody. And his mom asked him, "Who are you talking to?" And he literally said, "Uncle so-and-so," whoever it was who had just passed away. So, yeah, definitely creepy. So let's move on to the next one. So this is a parent talking to their child. "Go back to sleep. There isn't anything under your bed." And this is the child's response. "He's behind you now." Still haven't gotten over that one and shiver at the memory. That one's definitely really creepy. This one says, "I was tucking in my 2-year-old. He said, 'Goodbye, Dad.' I said, 'No, we say goodnight.' He said, 'I know, but this time it's goodbye.' Had to check on him a few times to make sure he was still here." Yeah, if that was my child, I'd be checking on them too, because that's definitely a very scary thing to have them say to you. This one says, "My sister got hit by a drunk driver in April and it totaled her car. She had my 4-year-old nephew and my infant niece with her. When my mom arrived at the hospital, my nephew asked her if she would thank the big guys." "What big guys, Caden?" "Grammy, the big guys that were in the car with me when it got loud and scary, and they hugged me with their arms and kept me safe." Even the insurance adjuster could not explain how either child escaped without a scratch. Definitely seems to me like they had some guardian angels with them. That one doesn't seem very scary to me or creepy. That's a little bit more comforting if you ask me. Here's the next one. "Why are you crying?" "Bad man." "What bad man?" "There." Points behind me at a dark corner of the room. Lamp on bookshelf next to said darkened corner falls off as soon as I turn to look. She slept in our bed that night. That's definitely a scary one. My 3-year-old daughter stood next to her newborn brother and looked at him for a while, and then turned and looked at me and said, "Daddy, it's a monster. We should bury it." That one's a little creepy and dark, but it's also kind of funny if you think about it. Apparently the child did not enjoy their new brother. "My mother was babysitting my daughter while I was at a doctor's appointment and said, 'Oh no, Grandma, Mama's not coming anymore today. She was in a bad accident. She can't come get us.' I had indeed been in an accident that almost killed me at the exact time. None of my family had yet been notified." It's weird how kids can seem to have some kind of like psychic premonition sometimes. This one says, "I was sound asleep and at around 6 a.m. I was awoken to my 4-year-old daughter's face inches from mine. She looked right into my eyes and whispered, "I want to peel all your skin off." Backstory here is I had been sunburned the previous week and was starting to peel. In my sleep-addled state, however, it was pretty terrifying for a few seconds. I didn't know if I was dreaming or what was going on. That one's pretty funny. The next one says, "Just today my 4-year-old son told me, 'I think we live in a pretend world and someone is playing with us.' I asked him what he meant and it got even weirder. Well, it seems like someone does things to us, but we can't see them because we're in this world and they are not." I don't know if this kid has been informed of The Sims or that maybe we're living in a simulation, but that's some pretty deep stuff for a little kid. My 4-year-old has an imaginary friend named John. He's had him for a while, but a few months ago he came to me completely serious and said, "Big John said he loves you," and then walked away. Now he has always referred to him as his buddy John. For example, my buddy John and I. My grandfather's name was John and everyone used to call him Big John. He passed away when I was 6 years old. We lived with him at the time of his passing and he was such a huge part of my life. I've never referred to him as Big John or even John when speaking about him. Always just Grandpa. So again, seems like family members check in with the younger kids to let you know that they're still hanging out and watching. My sister described her imaginary friend, saying, "He sits on my bed and waits for his mom. He's not allowed to go home by himself because of his arm." I asked what happened to his arm and she said, "His mom ran him over when he was drawing with chalk. That's why he's always crying, because he doesn't like being dead." Okay, that is really, really creepy. My 5-year-old asked me when he was going to be 23. I told him in 18 years. He replied, "Well, I hope I don't die again, because that's how old I was the last time I went to heaven." You'll see a kind of a theme going on with these. A lot of it seems like kids have been reincarnated or they've had a past life and they still remember it. And that's something that also seems to disappear from someone's mind as they get older. And it's kind of like because, you know, a past life and this life would be so close together when you're that young that you would still remember things. This one says, "My family has recently moved to a new home in a new country. It was a well-furnished apartment, and in our bedroom was a painting that looked like hair free-flowing in the air. It wasn't a pleasant or soothing painting, but I was trying to make peace with it. My son was 2.5 years old then. One day I was settling him down for an afternoon nap in my bedroom when he said, 'I don't want to sleep in this room.' I asked him why, and he said, 'This painting looks at me and tries to talk to me, and I don't like it.' I totally wouldn't make the little kid sleep in the room and the painting would be gone. That's definitely scary." Here's the next one. "We were driving down a dark, snowy highway late one evening, final stretch of a 16-hour-long road trip. My son, who was around 4 or 5 at the time, was in the back seat and becoming a bit restless. He suddenly covered his face with a blanket and announced loudly, 'I don't want to get glass on my face.' A few moments later, a pickup truck, towing some snowmobiles, pulled out in front of a tractor trailer a few cars in front of us and got hit, spinning out into the median. Fortunately, we avoided it." Here's the next one. "On a flight with my son, the plane took off and we hit a couple bumps. The passengers were being somewhat quiet when my son yelled, 'We're all gonna die.' I kind of wonder if this one was on a flight I was on once. We were flying from Orlando back to where I lived in New York, and we had a layover somewhere, I think. In any event, we were on the smaller prop plane, and it was terrible weather. And like the stewardesses were green, we had terrible turbulence. And I do remember there was a little kid. He didn't scream, 'We're all gonna die,' but he did ask if we were going to die. So I wonder if that's the same premise. Not creepy, but sad. My best friend died, and I was trying to get back to my hometown for the funeral. I got overwhelmed with grief and laid my head down on my desk and started crying. My daughter came into the kitchen and asked me what was wrong. She was about 8 at the time. I told her I was so sad because my friend died and I was missing her so much. My kiddo said, 'Don't be so sad, Mommy. She's standing right next to you.' I still get goosebumps just thinking about it." That one definitely is sad and creepy at the same time. "During a huge thunderstorm one night, my son, about 4 at the time, puts his hand on the sliding glass door and says, "Oh God, don't take me, I'm too young to die." He then looks back at my mom. "Take Grandma, she's old." That's terrible. I hate to laugh, but from the mouths of babes. And this is the last one that I'm going to read for today. It says, "The other week I was reading my 2-year-old daughter a bedtime story. When we finished, we were talking about being scared of ghosts, monsters, trolls, etc. And she turned to me and said, 'Daddy, I'm not scared of ghosts.' I asked, 'Why is that?' To which she replied, 'Because the one that comes into my room at night and strokes my hair is a nice one.'" Come on now, that is scary. It does remind me though, when I was in high school, I used to babysit the girls that lived across the street while their parents were at work at a restaurant in our town. And I remember distinctly one night I had put the girls to bed. The older one was asleep doing her thing, and the younger one, I just heard her giggling and playing, and I usually left the light on in her room while she was falling asleep because she didn't like the dark, which was fine. And I did have the door cracked so I could kind of find out what's going on. So she's giggling and carrying on, and usually it didn't take her too long to fall asleep. So I went in there and I was like, "Savannah, what's going on? What are you doing?" And she was little, probably 2, on the cusp of 3, maybe closer to just being 2. I'm not really too sure. But I do remember she just giggling and pointing up at the ceiling, and I said, "What are you pointing at?" And she goes, "The man on the ceiling." Now, the people that I had babysat for had told me before that weird stuff happened in their house, and it is an older house. So she just creeped me out so much by laughing and saying that she was talking to the man on the ceiling that I was like, "You know what, come with me, come lay on the couch." So we both laid on the couch. I was watching something on TV and it was kind of late, and Savannah had fallen asleep and I'm drifting off on the couch myself, and all of a sudden I heard a noise and I woke up and I still had the light on in her bedroom, and I just kind of looked toward where her bedroom was, and her bedroom door just slammed shut. And thank goodness she didn't wake up, but it definitely woke me up and it scared the crap out of me. So I definitely kept her on the couch with me until her mom and dad got home. That was definitely one of the scariest experiences I'd ever had. But again, with children talking to people we can't see. And for her, it was the man on the ceiling. So yeah, glad I never actually saw the man on the ceiling, but apparently he was pissed off that I took her out of the room because he decided to slam the door. But anyway, guys, that is it for this video. If you liked it, please give me a big old thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below if you'd like me to read some more of these creepy things that kids have said, because as I said, that list is really long, so I definitely can do some more if you're interested. But anyway, if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you guys in my next one. Bye!